Hello, I'm Alex. Welcome back to ScamTV. Today we're bringing you a deeply personal and important story from Zoe, a courageous individual who has experienced the devastating effects of an attempted romance scam firsthand. Zoe has graciously agreed to share her story with us, hoping that by doing so, others can learn and avoid falling into similar traps. We believe that personal stories like Zoe's are powerful learning tools in our mission to prevent scams and protect our community. Romance scams are alarmingly prevalent worldwide, affecting countless individuals and resulting in significant financial losses. According to recent reports, victims of romance scams lost over $300 million in the past year alone. These scams not only cause financial devastation, but also leave emotional scars that can last a lifetime. The dollar losses from romance scams are most likely much, much higher because many victims fail to report their scams. Some of the top reasons many romance scam victims fail to report being scammed is due to embarrassment and shame. Most victims feel humiliated that they were deceived and fear judgment from others. This stigma prevents them from seeking the help and support they need, allowing scammers to continue their deceitful activities unchecked. Please listen closely to Zoe's experience and hear how a combination of listening to her friends' warnings and her own common sense helped her avoid being scammed. Let's work together to ensure that fewer people become victims of these heartless schemes. Hi, Zoe. First of all, thanks so much for being here. Please go ahead and tell us your story.
Nick, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I want to start out by saying that I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about all these innocent people being ripped off by romance scammers. There just seems to be so many, and the scammers are making tons of money. And what's really frustrating is that I've seen these damn scammers on social media just laughing about their stupid exploits. It's like some kind of game to them. I think it's important for victims, and would-be victims, like me to speak up. We have to help put an end to it, or at least let them know we're onto them. I am a divorced woman and only recently got back into the dating world. Let me just point out the obvious. Dating has changed dramatically since the internet came along. Anyways, let me get to my story. I started communicating with a guy I met on a dating site. His picture showed he was handsome and his profile indicated he was very successful. He told me he was a doctor working overseas with the nonprofit organization Doctors Without Borders. I talked to him several times and was really starting to like him more and more. He lived about an hour from me, but was overseas quite a bit helping out in poverty-stricken countries. I mean, how admirable is that? He kept telling me that when he got back in 2 to 3 months that we could move in together. He told me he had a huge home, but he got lonely when he was there. So it would be nice to have me around. I thought this was a little too much pre-planning since we had never met. But hey, can't a girl dream a little? When I showed his pictures to my friends, they immediately got suspicious. He just seemed too perfect. To tell you the truth, I just thought they were jealous. One of my friends came up with the idea of doing an online picture search of him. I never even knew that this was possible. I thought a picture search was a great option. Plus, it would help me prove my jealous friends wrong. Well, I can tell you that my friends shut down my romantic fantasy real quick. Once we did the image search, I realized I was being scammed. His picture was being used everywhere. I was in shock. I really wanted to show my friends how wrong they were, but they quickly brought me back to reality. At first, I was so sad, but then that turned into so mad real fast. I couldn't believe I had fallen for this guy's BS. Because he was going to be calling me the next day, I wanted to confront him. I felt like Rambo going to war. Once I started putting my thoughts together on paper, I realized there were really all kinds of red flags that I should have seen sooner. So I wrote them down and decided I would confront him with them. Once he called the next day, I knew I was going to be dumping his ass, but I had to have a little fun with him before I did. So I grabbed my script and confronted him. My conversation went like this. I need to be honest with you about something that's been bothering me. Over the past few weeks, I've noticed several inconsistencies in our conversations, and I have to address them. It's really important for me to feel safe and secure in any relationship, and I don't feel that way right now. First, I've realized that you often avoid video calls. Every time I've suggested it, you've come up with an excuse. Poor internet connection, a broken camera, or being in a remote location. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were hiding out in a spy movie. Seriously, are you a secret agent or just camera shy? Another thing that's been bothering me is the urgency with which you've asked for money. Whether it's been for a sudden medical emergency, or to help with buying the poor kids you're treating with some basic necessities, these requests have been too frequent and too urgent. I feel like I'm in a real-life episode of Scam Artists Anonymous. It doesn't feel right, especially since we haven't known each other for that long. Also, your stories about your life and background don't seem consistent. One day, you mentioned being born in one country, and another time, you said it was a completely different place. You also gave me conflicting details about your job. One day you're in a foreign country with Doctors Without Borders. The next time we talked, the country you are supposedly in is different than the last time we talked. Are you a secret chameleon or just forgetful? Then there's the issue with your photos. When I did a reverse image search on a couple of your pictures, I found them linked to several different profiles. This really made me worry because it suggests that you might not be who you say you are. Are you secretly a model moonlighting as a mystery man? You also seem to avoid answering direct questions about your life. Whenever I ask for specifics, you either change the subject or give vague responses. This isn't what I expect from someone who's genuinely interested in building a relationship. Do you have a secret identity I should know about? Moreover, I've noticed that your messages are sometimes generic and feel copied and pasted. This lack of personalization makes me feel like I'm just one of many people you're communicating with, rather than someone special. If I wanted drama with a lousy storyline, I'd go watch a soap opera. Oh, excuse me, do you even know what a soap opera is? Not sure they have them where you live. Oh, and by the way, where do you really live? Lastly, I've had friends and family express their concerns as well. They pointed out that your profile seemed too perfect and warned me about the possibility of a scam. At first I didn't want to believe them, but now I totally see their point. For these reasons I have to be clear. I cannot continue this conversation or relationship any further. It's important for my safety and well-being to step away from this. I hope you understand that I have to protect myself and prioritize my own security. This isn't easy for me to say, because I genuinely wanted this to work out. But the red flags are everywhere and just too hard to ignore. I need to trust my instincts on this. It's like a carnival of red flags over here. Goodbye, and I hope you can find whatever it is you're looking for. I just must make sure it's not in my wallet. With that, I hung up. Of course, he tried to call me back several times, but I just blocked his number. I was done playing his game. Quite frankly, I didn't owe this jerk any explanation at all. But speaking with him one last time was somewhat cathartic, and dare I say, a little fun. So there you go, Nick. I hope telling my story helps your viewers. My message to you is, if you think you might be dealing with a scammer, confront them with your concerns as soon as your gut tells you to. Don't waste your time dragging it on. Another big point, listen to your family and friends. If they start warning you about their concerns, do not immediately dismiss them because you think you found the person of your dreams. Pay attention and keep an open mind. They are probably right. Lastly, don't beat yourself up for being a victim, or a would-be victim. Unfortunately, scammers are good at what they do and have left behind a trail of victims. It's very easy to blame yourself. Always remember, it's not your fault. It's the scammers. Thank you for having me on. Take care.